for me, martial arts was challenging myself. It was always about challenging myself. My expression came when I stepped on the mat to fight. That's how I felt. But then you see the results of that training when you go and compete. I can't stress how much it shaped me as a young man. And you feel like a superhero. You've got to have a culture within your business of open honesty. When you voice their concern. It doesn't matter what level, whether they're the cleaner or your lead instructor or front of house or whatever, they need to be able to voice their concerns and tell you what's happening. It's about the persistence. Anybody that you see that you deem as successful has not had just like a steady trajectory towards success. It's been up and down, up and down.
On this episode of the Elite Podcast, I speak to Ricky Dubidat, former world champion, martial arts school owner and business coach. Ricky, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good to see you, mate. Thank you for coming to Liverpool.
Yeah, not a problem.
Pull you out the depths of Birmingham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's nice seeing Liverpool. It's a lovely place.
Yeah, you said you stayed over last night as well. A bit of quiet time, was you saying earlier? You like to have your bit of space here to...
Yeah, a little bit of reflection time with the drive over and stuff is always good, listening to podcasts and just thinking and, alone with your own thoughts. And it always helps to have a bed by yourself instead of like with the missus.
Yeah.
Good night's sleep.
You listen to a lot of self-development stuff and podcasts and that as well, do you?
Yeah, loads. It's
important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the benchmark of everything I do. Start the day with it, finish the day with it.
Brilliant.
It's helped me a load in the past. So it's I couldn't do without it, to be honest.
I know people don't realise how lucky we are, the full resources that are at our fingertips now. You get to speak with people that are experts in any area for free as well. Just tip of your fingers, you just got to do a bit of research, find out the right people and follow them and you get a wealth of knowledge. Yeah,
exactly. You can find, like you said, you can find anything out about anything and get mentorship without even ever meeting those experts, which is it's a godsend. So I really do make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's what you do for a living as well, isn't it? You mentor people, you help develop them. So they always say the best students are the best instructors, or the best leaders are the best followers.
Yeah.
I think I agree with that definitely as well. I'm like a major student, me. I'm always trying to learn, try to be humble, stay as the white belt. And if you do that and you can keep taking stuff in, you're able to.
It's so true. You got to lead by example as well. If we're stepping up as leaders, then we shouldn't be advising people to do this or do this if we're not trying to be better ourselves. And I think one of my superpowers in everything that I do is the fact that I took the time out to first understand myself a little bit more in order to understand other people on a deeper level, which makes absolutely everything else just so much easier.
What do you mean by that then? Explain that a little bit more if you don't mind.
So there's kind of internal conflicts that people can have, whether they know it or not, when it comes to like running business, because we're business coaches and stuff. So instead of just approaching the coaching how I used to at the very, very beginning, this is all you need to do, where you go and do it. And then get frustrated when people didn't do what they were supposed to be doing. After a while of understanding myself, doing some personal development, some own personal growth about why I wasn't as maybe as productive as I could have been, it was a realization that the work that needs to be done initially wasn't the end solution, like just doing more marketing or whatever it was. It was to identify what the patterns that person had around the whole activity, whatever it may be, and where that came from. And if you fix that, then you can fix a lot more things a lot quicker than just going down to the end product.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes really good sense. So you're not solving the symptoms, you're solving the problem, basically.
Exactly.
And that's right, because it's basically working on the person rather than the externals.
Yeah.
Because you can give people, an instruction manual. If you've got one in my book, and read that, just implement that and you're going to be fine. But it's not about that. You can give people the information, but they've got to be motivated to implement it.
Yeah.
And have the confidence to take the risk and to do things and progress to the next stage. And the main thing is stay on course, isn't it? And stay motivated to keep doing these things and develop new habits. But
that's the key as well. It's like everybody wants to stay motivated, but it's not about, I believe it's not about motivation. It's about discipline. And if there's a lack of discipline, nobody's going to be able to cheerlead you or motivate you to keep doing whatever it is on a long-term basis. It's always short-term. It's that depth. People, I really honestly believe that more people in England need to work on themselves in order to get to where they need to be. In America, everyone has therapy and all that kind of thing. But over here, it's a little bit of a dirty word, I suppose.
Yeah.
And whilst I don't think everybody needs therapy, but people need to reflect on who they are as individuals and get clear on the whys, and that'll help. Because it's helped me. It really has helped me.
Yeah, and then you're able to unpick other people then, aren't you, and help them with what they're doing. Yeah, but definitely psychology and behaviours really fascinates me, always has done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm very highly motivated. I say highly motivated, I'm also very disciplined as well. But a lot of the time, I don't know, because I'm able to just drive onto stuff intensely, obsessively, but I can keep it going.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people that might seem like they're like me and they've got the front end and have got the energy, but then they'll give it some for a bit and they drop off, get distracted and do the next thing. But I don't. I will just stay on. And I've had to kind of like, how do I do that, and why do I do that, and how am I able to? But yeah, it's through discipline.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is through discipline, and it's every single thing that has gone into us, from all the good and the bad, that has shaped us into the careers that we choose and the options that we take. It's not by a lot of this stuff isn't by accident. The careers that we choose and fall into, where we feel fulfilled and feel ourselves, it's not by accident. It's kind of predestined by everything else that happened before it. And if people are in a place in their life where they don't feel fulfilled or feel out of place or feel uncomfortable on a constant basis, it's because they just haven't found their thing, because there is something for everyone.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And it depends on your upbringing and everything else, I believe.
Yeah. And martial artists are a weird breed, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? They're unusual people. They're very passionate.
Yeah.
They obviously are doing something that they love. Everyone, like, there are a certain type of people that do that. There's a lot of like ADHD or spectrumy people out there within the industry, whether they know it or like it or not, or definitely OCD, because that's still on the spectrum. OCD, ADHD, and the varying degrees of of spectrum disorder. But they generally only do things that they like.
So true.
And will have an affair with the whole thing, delve into it, that's brilliant. That's how you get good at martial arts. That's how you become a world champion. Just flipping, driving around the countries like we used to do years ago, to all the events and staying on task and and keeping going. But then when it's trying to, they do that with the martial arts and that side of stuff, and then trying to get them to have that same passion in the business side of stuff as well, isn't it?
It's so hard.
Yeah,
it can be so hard. But yeah, it's again, it's going back to the why. Why do they love, or why do we love being martial artists? And a lot of the time, I'll talk about me because I can't talk about everybody. It's a generalization. For me, martial arts was yes, I did it for confidence and all that kind of thing. That was the whole reason. But it was more about challenging myself. It was always about challenging myself, because it was difficult. The training that we did, like the Winsper stuff, that was hard.
Horrendous, wasn't it? People don't realise how hard the training was.
Yeah, really, really hard. I mean, I can only talk for myself, but when I used to drive to training at the Winspers, it was
terrifying.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I used to drive there. I used to absolutely just crap myself on the way and I literally think, why am I doing this? I know that I'm going to turn up and I'm just going to get battered by everybody. But then you see the results of that training when you go and compete.
Yeah.
And how everybody else outside of your club like responds to you, and you feel like a superhero. It was amazing, man. So taking that into everything else I did was a huge thing. So that period of my life I think that was a transitional period for me, definitely. Made a massive, massive difference. Enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun as well.
It was, yeah. I've seen you fold loads of people up with that reverse punch.
Yeah, man. It's like so my wrist is messed up now. But yeah, it's just absolutely transformational. And meeting the people as well. That was a massive thing. Like, if you can remember, like the amount of big characters that were around.
Yeah, and role models that were men that were just like, we were young men, weren't we? I mean, and these were like the men. Yeah. And they were men, weren't they? And
exactly.
Even saying that's flipping, even like the Winspers were younger than me, I think they were. But they flipping out. People, when you talk about good martial arts, how good were those two?
Absolutely phenomenal.
Unbelievable. The Winsper brothers.
Yeah, they were amazing. Yeah. And their attitudes and mannerisms alongside it as well. Yeah. Not an ounce of arrogance or cockiness or anything, but their technical ability was on a whole new level. But it was good. Like you say, they were younger than us, But in some ways, they were teaching us how to be martial artists, like black belts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was good times, man. Really, really good
Yeah,
times.
really. I mean, I was in the army at the time as well, as in the parachute regiment, and that's known for being tough and hard, and that training was very, very similar to what you'd get in there. So I just absolutely loved it. But then you'd see obviously paratroopers, a lot of them look tough and they act tough. And then you see Matt and James, they just act very pleasant and normal. You wouldn't even think anything about them if they just walked down the street.
Exactly.
And you'd get unstuck as well if you tried anything on with them. Do you know what I mean? But there was them, and then there was the other members of the team, because people would come from over, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Rob Taylor, and you'd have Mark Lester, and some of the other ones, Linval. Who else? Say some of the other lads.
Linval, Rob Taylor, Steve Leet, and the guys from Cheltenham.
All the Cheltenham lot as well,
guys,
So Jason, what's his name?
Jason, I can't remember his surname.
Yeah, no, Jason O'Grady used to jump in as well every now and again, didn't he? On some of them, but it was I can't remember the last name now, but it's a long time ago, isn't it?
A long time ago. I remember the squad train. Just on another level. We used to have other people coming in, like Owen King and all those guys coming in as well. And it was just like, geez, I'm just going to get my ass handed to me on a plate here. But it was good. It was cool. It was really, really good. And it was those years that I can't stress how much it shaped me as a young man. Really, really did. Especially coming from my background. I was like a bit of a geek, but
yeah, that's right. Yeah, tell it you were. You was like computer programming or something, was it? You're quite quiet and reserved, and then and that was a real extreme. That's extreme as it gets. That is when it comes to physical. I mean, that was really tough. I'm not sure how many people still train like that, to be honest. I'm sure there is still a few clubs knocking around that will still be doing that, especially up in the north of England.
Yeah.
But it was a 4-hour training session, wouldn't you? Just get the shit beaten out of you all the way through by world-class fighters, one after another. Burpees for a rest.
It's mad,
rest is
isn't it?
burpees, wasn't it? And then you're fighting everyone else, and they're doing it. And after you do that at the end, after doing about 2 hours of just intense pads, and then 4-hour training sessions. And I remember, I don't know if you used that one, a few times, we'd finish, and then we drove to a local competition, fought. Straight after it, won my section, just cleared up with everyone, didn't even touch the sides there, and and it was just the norm, wasn't it? It wasn't anything we did at the time. We knew it was hard training, but we didn't really think, oh, this is excessive or anything. We just did it, and we saw a lot of people come and go that couldn't. I don't want to say couldn't hack it, but it wasn't for them. No,
which is fine. But yeah, some really, really good times. I mean, every single squad training, I think, had an asthma attack or something.
That's right, yeah.
I was about to but looking back, but it was absolutely amazing.
And did that extreme environments molded you in other ways moving forwards then?
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, again, it was just about testing myself because, like, as you know, I was like kind of quiet. I was in the background. There were a lot of big personalities and stuff, and I wasn't a big personality. I was just quiet, kept myself to myself. My expression came when I stepped on the mat to fight. That's how I felt. And I was quite I got on, like in school, I got on with everybody. I was cool. Didn't have many problems or anything. I had the usual fights and everything, but I was never the loud kid. So to go into that environment was a bit of a shock, bit of a culture shock. And I went because my cousin took me there. Yeah. Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
All right. So, he brought me into it. And I trained at other martial arts schools beforehand. Then he took me to a competition at Hell's Owing where they had their school, and I didn't know anything about the Winspers. Fought in the category, came third. I think there was probably 3 or 4 people in the category. Yeah. Didn't really know what I was doing. Then Steve Winsper invited me to come and train. And then I went a couple of days later. And then that was it. I was hooked. This was a different level. This is what I actually wanted to do. And it just shaped me it toughened me up. Because there was you couldn't make excuses because it didn't make a difference. You were pushed to your limit. And it also, when you're pushed from somebody that's given you that much belief, that believes in you so much, you have more confidence in yourself to do more. And that translated to everything else that I did going forward. Yeah. So like after doing my years of like competing and everything, I started cross-training in different martial arts. And I fought in different things, MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, you did a bit of BJJ, didn't you?
Yeah, wrestling. Boxing and stuff like that, and loved it. I was just like, and the only reason I did it was to see, okay, so those are the guys that are at the top. Can I hold my own with them? And that was it. Yeah. So loved it.
Great stuff. So so you obviously all your martial arts training. which is your passion. It's the thing you love. It's the ultimate kind of personal development program, isn't it? Martial arts. It really develops you. You learn about yourself. You're just talking about that earlier. You build by learning your weaknesses and then, identifying them and trying to improve them and growing. And obviously, you develop, you grow, and then you decided to teach, because I know you've got a very successful school now. What happened? How did that happen?
So whilst I was still an instructor with the Winspers, I think I just won my first world title. Just after that, I think. I asked Steve, I want to open my own school in my local area, and he says, yeah, cool. So I opened up a once a week class, and just had literally loads of friends and people from the area come down and train, and it snowballed from there. And then I had an Achilles injury, ruptured my Achilles, completely snapped my Achilles tendon. So I was out for a year from training, but I was still teaching on crutches and everything. And then the usual just things happened, and then I just continued on that path. And my background in IT, as working for software houses and stuff, meant that marketing and stuff was easy for me. So because of that, I kind of scaled my schools quite easily.
So you did marketing as part of what you're doing with IT, or was you just familiar with?
I was just familiar with lots of different, because my degree was in computer sciences. Yeah. And then so growing up, I did lots of things. So I used to build computers and sell them, and lots of other things to do with tech and stuff. So when I started working, do you remember MySpace?
Yeah.
So when that first came out, I had my MySpace account for my club, and I had a bot automatically contacting people. And this is way before any of this stuff was being spoken about in anything to do with sport, and messaging people and adding people that were from the West Bromwich area and stuff, and inviting them for classes and stuff. Had all that going. It was against the terms and conditions, and I got banned from MySpace.
Hey, being entrepreneurial there.
Yeah, it worked. It really, really worked. So I made the most of it before I got banned. And there's loads of other things that just helped. Having the technical skills helped me to push forward. But the resilience from the training really helped with the ups and downs of business and dealing with different people and adversity and stuff. It's a good time. Really,
ups
really
and downs of business. People don't realise that, do they?
No.
It's all exciting when you're developing your logo and you're getting ready to launch your school, and then when not enough people turn up and your classes are getting empty and you're getting complaints. Exactly. So people are sacking it in then rather than persevering, learning, growing and improving.
But the thing is, that's where the learning, that's where the growth comes from the challenges and everything. And what you do in those times when things are going wrong, I think that defines you as a martial artist, a black belt, a man, woman, whatever. That defines you as a person. And I think way too many people give up too easily on a lot of things, and it's getting more and more like that nowadays, unfortunately. But it's about the persistence. Anybody that you see that you deem as successful has not had just a steady trajectory towards success. It's been up and down, up and down. And then there's also the fact of people getting bored and then switching, like that shiny penny syndrome. They don't realise that there's a stabilisation period in everything. In relationships, in business, and in life. Things go good, everything increases, maybe finances or enjoyment or whatever. But then there's a period where you need to just sit in it and stabilise and just reflect and just
recalibrate at that stage as well, don't you?
Exactly.
And
but
plan.
But stay on the path.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's a long lesson. It's like a fight, isn't it? Like I say, going back to when we were competing and stuff, it's like a fight. It's not easy all the way through most of the time, but yeah, you've got to understand where you're at and then know what to do to course correct. But lessons that maybe not many people want to adhere to nowadays because times have changed.
Yeah, definitely. So you built your school. Where's your martial arts centre then?
In West Bromwich Town Centre. Yeah,
wow.
Go West Bromwich.
Great location. Were you bang in the middle of the town? Do you get walk-ins and everything?
Yeah, we get walk-ins and stuff like that.
What percentage of your intros and say would you say walk-ins?
We probably only about 3 or 4 walk-ins a week or something, which is pretty good.
That's really good.
That's not too bad.
So a lot of people struggle to get that many leads a week.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So if you get, not all locations are built equally. I tell people this at all.
They're not. Yeah, definitely.
Some people come to you and they're in a terrible location in a very mediocre place, and they're going, "Oh, what do I do?" I'm like, probably shouldn't have opened with like flipping no students to start with. You should have built your student base up and then pulled those over and test and adjust the area first.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. I've had some schools in some areas that are just, because the area was affluent, you just kind of naively think, oh, that'll work. But when you look at the population, like density and stuff and how many kids and everything in that area, then it just doesn't make sense. But I've made all those mistakes in the past and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, quite happy with where we are at the moment. And it's like, thankfully, it's like pretty much fully leveraged and stuff. And it's where I want it to be. Got plans to expand and stuff. And
brilliant. Expansion's always great, but I say to some people, like, there's intelligent in expansion. Like, you expand and don't like over expand. I mean, I started a national franchise and I wouldn't advise anyone to do it. Like, I went from having, one epicenter, a big club, 300-400 members. And then we had about 20 or 30 locations around it. And that is easy to control. You can centralize everything. You can centralize all the gradings. You can be on hand for everyone. You can have a team of instructors and that can work really well and be very profitable and a great for everybody that's involved. Which is good. But I went from that to then opening other ones all over the and it was turnover was going up. Yeah, great. But turnover, as we spoke about the other day, is vanity. Yeah, and profit is sanity. So I was way busier, turning over more, and my profit was about the same for a long, long time until I pushed through and like reshaped the kind of the back end. We talked about this as well. So, and I'm glad I did it now and pushed through that, and got to that point. But it's about intelligent expansion and not just ego expansion. You see some people will open one location and they're already opening a second and they haven't really got the other one filled up and in a profitable position. Like, I'll hold on, get that one stable first. Yeah,
I did exactly the same. I mean, we had like 3 full-time centres and then satellite centres off it. And again, turnover was amazing, but I had the wrong people in the wrong places. I took my eye off the ball in some areas as well, because you lean towards your preferences at the time. Of
course.
And I was juggling way too many things because we were teaching different arts as well. So that was a massive learning curve.
Too complicated.
Way too many complicated. Moving parts. Yeah, they really, really were. And the wrong people, the wrong people, that was the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's reined back. And at the moment, it's more profitable than it was before, like way more profitable, generating more turnover and everything. Yeah. So it's like, why didn't we just do this in the beginning?
It's ego, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
It's enthusiasm, but misguided enthusiasm. That's all it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with it. When you get those type of people and you can put them in the right direction, it's what obviously we do for a living now, isn't it? Like, walk that path. Don't do that. Why are you doing that? That's, that's what could happen. You over leveraging yourself as well and exposing yourself to unnecessary risk.
Yeah, that's so
as
true.
Well, which isn't needed. Your risk should be calculated.
Yeah,
each time.
And also as well, there's that thing of like sometimes within our industry, the martial art industry, sometimes I fell into doing what I thought was right based on what everybody else was doing, and then put the reality of what was happening in my world second. So that's where I just like expanded, and another 4 times. And like I say, just completely ego driven. Like I say, I don't regret doing it. It was really, really good at the time, but it wasn't efficient. And when something's not efficient, it takes more time to manage and there's more hassle and there's more stress. And that's not what my whole ethos for my life is about. No. So I had to change it and shape it for what I wanted. But yeah.
And if systems aren't set up properly and you don't have the right people and you've got too much on, you've got a limited amount of energy and attention, and you'll put it to the things that are most pressing and neglect other parts, and people will notice. And so if you've got a system set up properly, then that's not going to be the case, because you'll be checking in with people at certain times and collectively meeting with people at certain times and giving value still and keeping an eye on people, because you're that busy when you're like that sometimes you don't even keep your eye on that one, and then by the time you look, oh shit, look at the numbers there, and you've neglected them, and they'll let you know as well, you know what I mean, and as they do, and then you've got all that exciting, interesting situations you need to navigate as well as being a business owner.
But I think a massive part of it as well is understanding where you sit and what your actual role needs to be as the business owner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We always say that thing of like going from the business doer to a business owner, but what does a business owner actually entail? What does it mean? And once I got that that clarity for myself, and like my job is to nurture the top line and invest in the top line to make sure that they are the best versions of themselves. That's when things started to move a lot smoother.
They say, you should look at a business as if you're an investor in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what I mean? And, and it should be, a school could be an asset or a liability. And if you're in it all the time and you're working non-stop and there's minimal kind of money coming out of it, and if you have to pay someone to cover you to do it, the standard's lower, people don't want it, and there's no money left, that is a liability you've got around your neck at that stage. Some people would be better to just close it and start something else, or just totally restructure and rebuild it around what's important.
Definitely. I mean, like, one of the things as well is I realised that I was the actual blockage in the business.
In what way?
Making decisions based on emotion sometimes.
You can't help that though, especially when you first get going. You're emotional martial artists.
That's the thing, isn't
people.
It? Yeah, and again, remember at the beginning we talk about patterns and everything. Yeah, those kind of things, and then things like customer service. That I should not be involved in any customer service decisions.
That's a good identification of your own strengths and weaknesses, though, isn't it? Yeah. Why? You think? Cheeky bastard.
Because I think it's got to do with age, man. It's like if I have something to say, I'll just say it. Maybe because of so long when I was younger, not doing that. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So it's like, if I have something to say, I will say it. If somebody says something I don't agree with, I'll call them out on it in a polite and professional manner. But the thing is, people can't always take that level of conflict. Yeah. So when it comes to anything customer service,
especially British people, I think, because it's so. Even if you had a nice day, even if someone says no, you'll be like, you have to say yes. No, that's not how this works. You say yes, and I go, great.
It's like a lot of conformity and stuff.
No, you've got to, like you say, you've got to. But like you just said, then it's a way of doing it. And I spoke to someone earlier about this. It's doing it respectfully. And non-confrontational. Yeah. And if you can do that and master that, and you can be constantly aligned with people then, or your staff, because if you don't and you don't say, and they're doing stuff and it's just starting to get you more and more annoyed, and then they do more of it, and then the next thing you're doing, they've opened another school, called it something else, and you didn't think you'd mind because I've been doing a little bit of teaching already, and then you've got a whole big predicament that you've got, and I've had this multiple times, whole big predicament you've got to deal with then because it wasn't addressed at an earlier level politely, and everyone managing expectation and knowing what's what.
Well, this is the thing, you've got to have a culture within your business of open honesty with your team, so that everybody can voice their concerns at any level. It doesn't matter what level, whether they're the cleaner or your lead instructor or front of house or whatever. They need to be able to voice their concerns and tell you what's happening. And as the owner, you have to ensure that you create an environment that is conducive to that. You know what I mean? You have it's your responsibility to make sure that the environment kind of brings that in, and that was key for me. Because I want people working for me in my team that will tell me when I'm not stepping up or not doing my part in the business. I want them to call me out on my shit, and call each other out and hold each other accountable. But again, in a nice and professional.
Is that an ongoing thing, or do you just have a meeting where people can go, right, what are we doing? Let's talk about so and so. Feedback, good and bad, or do you do it as an ongoing?
Well, we do
culture?
It with the structure is of like myself, and then I've got a manager that oversees all the team. It's a semi-flat structure, so any of the members of the team can come to me with any problems if they see fit. The reason why I have it like that is because that shouldn't happen if my manager's doing their job, and because she does a job really, really well, it doesn't happen that often. So we have weekly meetings with the whole team, like usually on a Monday morning. Yeah, going through like stats, but it starts off with them, like what's good and bad about their life and everything. We go through stats.
Personal,
yes,
business, just everything. There's no difference, is there? No, they're not sorted at home or in a personal way.
Exactly.
Then they ain't going to be performing because it's important to you, but it's not really going to be as important. It's nothing. It's more important than family, is it?
It's so true. It's like so we find out about them first. It always starts off that way, and talk about what's happening in their life, good and bad, and then what are the wins. So they reflect on the good that's happening instead of coming in with a negative attitude. Then we go into stats and all that kind of stuff, and then we discuss it, like discrepancies between the different levels of the stats for the pipeline, and then just get clarity on what people's focuses are for the week. Yeah, and my job in that is to listen, not to interject, not to take over. It's to listen, and then make sure that what everybody's doing and saying is adhering to the long-term vision. Because if it doesn't, it means it can go off track quite easily. So that's that meeting. I'll do a check-in every morning, about 2-3 minutes with my manager, just to support her. Yeah, if anything that she needs. It could be just to motivate her, or even give her some words of advice, or send some resources to her, because I'm really, really invested in making her the best version of her that I possibly can, as a martial artist, as a person, in everything, in every single way, because that has a massive knock-on effect, and I've seen it happen. Then we have instructor meetings, training every month. I like to do that myself, and then we have quarterly reviews.
Yeah.
We just finished one last week.
Staff reviews on their performance, what they said about goals.
No.
What do you mean?
The quarterly reviews is based on how quarter one went as an overall thing, how it went in line with our overall vision, or 3-year plan, where have we kind of gone off track, and what needs to happen to get back on track, what KPIs we hit over that quarter that are leading us towards it, and et cetera, and what needs to. So it's just course correction. Yeah. Then it's also team building, to get everyone together, because our instructors don't have any real interaction with the daytime admin, because they're just opposite ends of the time. So, you know what I mean? They don't cross over. So it's a bit of team building there. And I also get to see where everybody's head's at when every second quarterly review, we go over the document, which is our vision as well. It's where you can, I hope none of them are watching this, but it's where I can sit back and kind of see what reactions they have to certain things that are said, and kind of registers in my head, like, okay, cool, there's something there I need to kind of look at, if that makes sense. Yeah. And then we have there's a separate meeting that my manager does with each of the instructors, which is instructor evaluations. Yeah. And then we have appraisals every 12 months as well.
Very systemized. Does that come from your background in corporate businesses? Yeah. Is that how it would be run for you?
Yeah.
You found that level of accountability and checking in would work as a system for the schools? It
works really well, because like when you work for a software house, you've got so many different cogs and different types of mindsets. You might have an accountancy team, you have the HR, you've got the directors who don't have a clue what's going on most of the time. Then you've got the programmers, they're doing the actual donkey work. Then you've got the sales team. So you've got so many different personality types that if you don't check in on the business as a whole, as well as checking on a regular basis on each different cog within that machine, you can imagine how easy it is for one person or one thing or one idea to move something left. And when you've got a multi-million-pound company like these software houses working for, that cannot happen. Someone's going to get fired, and nobody wants that to happen.
No.
So I basically took that kind of structure, and then from years of not implementing it and just kind of seeing it as a martial art business and doing martial art business in a martial art business way, I was like, that's not the way to do it. And then I started implementing bits from my different corporate background, and it works.
Brilliant.
It really does work. And it's all about clarity, isn't it? Because I've got like a methodic car. The car needs clarity, actions, and results. If I give people clarity, then they can take actions. And if they take the right actions, we get the results. So it's all about making sure that everyone's clear on what they need to do next. And It keeps me clear on what's being done, which means I don't need to worry or think about it, which leaves me free to do what I need to do over here.
Yeah, of course. So do you teach at the school?
I teach two times a week if I want.
Yeah.
So a Tuesday and a Thursday.
But you don't have to.
Don't have to.
Yeah, that's good. Because you go away quite a lot, if you don't mind me saying. I've noticed that as well, and that's great. And you are really able to chill and detach, and I've probably learned some lessons from you on that. I mean, I'm the least chilled guy in the world. Yeah, I so much want to, to be able to relax and chill, but I will want to get it all done.
You don't get it all done.
I know, exactly.
That's never going to happen.
You never get it all done, do you? That's a joke. But no, you do, and that's great that you've systemized it like that. You're able to cut away. So, the way you've done it, like the Monday morning, so you just like weekly and then monthly.
Yeah.
Which is how I do our stuff with our mentoring as well. You got small check-ins regularly, bigger ones monthly wise, and then quarterly face-to-faces and growth meetings and masterminds and stuff like that, and networking. Yeah. So that's good. But can you do yours? Can you be out of the UK to do them still as well?
Yeah, if I want to.
Yeah. Or do you try and work it around?
With the weekly meetings, I never do them. I don't usually do them face to face.
Oh, so okay, so
it's all remote.
Okay,
the
well,
rest
that's
of
good.
rest of the team are together, but I'm just on Zoom or something like that.
Yeah, so you can be anywhere then to do that, really, can't you?
Yeah, so it works quite well. And to be honest, a lot of the time I don't need to be in the meeting because Sarah that's my manager. She just runs it. She knows what's required.
Yeah.
And occasionally I'll participate in it as if I'm an employee, if that makes sense as well.
Let her lead. Let
her lead and stuff.
That's good. You're not needed to be there. Then people get used to that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they go to you all the time, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be the case of how it used to be before is, when Rick does this, it's this level. And then when everybody else does it, it's this level.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not, again, it's not productive. It's the complete opposite of what I'm trying to do because I can only do so much, which means I'm big on helping people. Right? So I can only help a finite amount of people. So for me, in order to help more people, I need to put my ego to the side and make sure it's not about me, which is why I changed my school name like years ago.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Well, yeah, it was it used to be called Rick Dubidat Black Belt Academy, and it kind of felt like it was all about me. I was teaching.
Would be if you put your name on it.
Yeah,
mine was called Lee Matthews Black Belt Academy. No, I did exactly the same. Yeah.
And it was all about us, and you'd hear people saying, "Oh, I came here to be taught by Rick." Whenever you made any changes and stuff like that, it's like they have no logic of like what you have to do over a period of a week and stuff. And then looking at the whole ethos of it, it's like the different programs and the different levels. So this has got nothing to do with me. It's my ethos. I started it. I own it. But it's not about me. It's about excellence. That's where martial arts sense of excellence came from.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's the name of your centre.
Yeah.
And it's about a quality, which is excellence, which is no names attached to that, which is great. So how did you move from there to then mentoring, which I know you do now? How did you move to make that leap?
Well, it was, I kind of fell into the mentoring. I've always looked at things and analysed things and understood of like there's always different ways of doing things. And things could be done within the martial art industry a little bit more efficient, maybe. And it kind of started by accident. I was training with a personal trainer, one of my friends, Nathan. And he owned a bodybuilding gym. So I was training with him like 5 days a week in the mornings. And his gym was okay, but there were lots of things missing. From running martial arts schools, he just didn't have some of the systems that we have in place. So I helped him over a period of time. And he was like, well, you're helping me a lot. You've made a difference in the business. So can I start paying you? So that's how that started.
Okay. Yeah.
Then through recommendation, I was coaching him and another gym, an accountancy firm, which I don't even know how that happened, but made a massive difference. That was all around staffing and managing the team, behavioural specialists, and a couple of other small businesses, and then a couple of martial arts schools of like friends. And then that was going well. It was kind of not made up, but there was no structure, no frameworks, nothing at that time. And then
you just take each case separately, look at what they're doing, identify the weakness and where you could add value or structure and just do it that way.
Yeah. Exactly. And it was cool. It was fine. I never had any massive aspirations about being a business coach per se, but then it kind of snowballed. So I went into another coaching group, a mastermind, joined a mastermind, and then became a coach for that mastermind group.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But then there was just like a lack of congruency between the way that things that were done there and the way that I thought things should be done or approached. And it wasn't that they were doing it wrong or anything.
Just different to what
it's just different.
Yeah.
It was just different. So, like, long story short, I went and just started doing it myself. And then started building up the growth network. And it was like...
So yours, just to say it again, your company's called...
Yeah, the Growth Network.
Yeah. Martial Arts Growth Network or...
Growth Network.
Just Growth Network.
Yeah, because it's not pigeonholed to martial arts.
Oh, is it not?
It is at the moment.
Okay, yeah, but you're looking at expanding outside of that. Yeah.
But it's... and it was like a huge weight was off my shoulders because I could put in my own way of doing things, my own frameworks and stuff, and it's been good.
And how's that going? You've had some good results with some of the guys?
Yeah, I got some amazing results. I've helped school owners like leave their day jobs and focus on their school full time, which is really, really cool. I've helped them build teams. I've helped them multiply. So there's been a lot that we've done, and it's absolutely amazing.
Brilliant, mate. That sounds Sounds really good. And what's the plan kind of like moving forwards now from here? You mentioned, because I'm sure, well, at the minute, I know you're martial arts specific, but you just said a little something then about branching out. Is that the plan now to start, because systems are systems and business is business. The plan is to expand now you've like micro niche. It's a micro niche, let's be honest, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a niche within a niche, isn't it? It's the sports industry is a niche, and then we're like the martial arts business. So it's to push out to other sports related or just other businesses?
Other businesses.
How would you do that? Would you need a separate mentoring system, do you think, for that? Or would you think you'd be able to collectively?
I've got a separate mentoring system. I've got a completely different structure, complete different framework and everything that's been developed over like years and years and years. So it's just implementing that. I've just got to dedicate the time to pushing that. Pull the trigger on it. Still want to grow the martial arts side and keep going, because that's massive success and it's going well. But it goes back to what I was saying before about always wanting to challenge myself, because that scares me.
Does it? Yeah.
Because if a company that's got like 300 employees and turning over like 20, 30 million says they need coaching on a certain aspect, I can help them. Maybe not with everything, but I can help them with certain aspects. But so it's just a test for myself. Something I'm excited about.
Yeah, that sounds really exciting, mate.
Yeah,
so when's the plan to push the button on that?
No idea.
No idea.
Don't know. When I get space to do it, maybe sometime this year, maybe early next year. I think the way that I operate is like I'll just pull the trigger. Something that some like light bulb moment would come to me, and then I'll just like run and just go with it, and then that'll be the start of it. Yeah. And the fact that I've done it before I even did the martial arts stuff, that's a huge boost for my confidence. It's like, well, it is what it is. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if I can't help someone, I can just say I can't help them.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, if you think about it though, you're going from an industry that's that big to infinite businesses. Yeah. So that's like you said, I said, before about going from a regional business to a national one. So all it is bigger marketing expense to get the leads, really. Yeah. That's the main thing, because you know what to do with leads. Yeah. That's what we teach people to do, is how to deal with leads. And you can even automate a lot of it now, and you get people to text and think it's a person, and then arrange a time to call. Yeah. And so you can do that. You're just going to need to get a bigger, that's all it is, bigger audience, but you've already proven in one industry, so you've got proof of concept. Yes. And then, it's just rolling out the same systems and getting the customers then, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, like the stuff that I've learned, like different qualifications and all that stuff, they haven't been martial arts specific. They've just been business kind of specific. So all of these things are scalable, the marketing, like certifications and the AI and all these kind of sales training, all that kind of stuff. It is what it is. And then my own spin and my own like my own spin on it is what I'll be pushing forward and helping people.
Brilliant. So if you were to give like 3 pieces of advice for a martial arts school owner who's not really, they're just going along, they've started, they've done it, they've copied what their instructor did. Yeah. They're very mediocre in what they've got. Yeah. What would you see like as the 80-20 rule, the main bits for them, would you say that they need to focus on? Okay.
First of all, you need a vision.
Yeah.
If you don't have some kind of vision, it's never going to be a finished vision. But if you don't have some vision, all you're going to be doing is just following and just jumping from one thing to the next. And then your decisions will not be as effective, and you won't have as much clarity or confidence in your decisions because you don't know where you're going. So starts with the vision. Great. Definitely.
That's what just to bounce off you. That's exactly what we do with our guys as well. Yeah. Creating a business plan, a financial plan, a 12-month financial plan, because with the vision, if you know where you want to be and you can identify where you are accurately, because a lot of people don't really know where they are. That's identify where you're on the map first before you pick a location to go to, because if you don't know where you are, you're still not going to get to the destination. And then it's, if I want to be there and I need that many students, how do I get them? And how many do I need each month? So you can't even set goals, can you, without a vision? They're really just like made up ones, aren't they, really? Yeah, that's
the thing. It's like when you talk to people and it's like, okay, so what do you want to achieve? And they say, we want 100 students. It's like, why? Yeah. What does 100 students give you apart from a pat on the back when you see them in front of you? It's like, it's about the finances. Yeah. And then even deeper, it's like, what's that money going to do for your business and you? Yeah. And getting clear on that. So that's the first thing, helping you to take your head and your heart out of the decision making. Yeah. And almost become an employee of your own business so you can just do.
Yeah, I like that. So you're pre-planned and that's the boss. That plan is the boss.
That's it.
And that dictates your decisions and what you're doing, regardless of your emotional state then.
Yeah, because it's speed, isn't it? Like it's speed to implementation that wins the game. It really is in everything. If you look at most people, it's, what's that saying? Fail fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those people that fail fast, they get a lot further than those that are like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll do this, or I'll do that, or I'll do this. It's like you need to have your own journey. So that's the first thing, the vision. Second thing is you can't do it alone. Like 9 times out of 10, you are the blockage in the business, because you will make decisions and you'll react in a way that is based on your life experience and stuff. If you have other people with you that have different experiences, different viewpoints, they might pull up or say different things that will trigger different thought processes and open different opportunities. You can't do that if it's just you. So yeah, you need a team. So when I say this to people, and the first thing I say is I can't afford to take on a team, it's like, whilst I understand that you have to do it in a certain way, you can't afford not to bring on a team. And it doesn't need to be all at the same time, but you need to think who your first hire needs to be, and that's based on your own personal skill set, and then pull from there. Because if you employ the right people, they will generate the revenue indirectly or directly for that business to pay for their own wages anyway.
That's very true, that is.
Plus profit.
Yeah, I used to do that. So I used to launch new schools.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have the money to pay for them initially, but I utilised a system for launching between 150 and 200 schools, and I got it down to being able to do it in a month from launch to full execution. It took about 2 or 3 months of planning, but I wouldn't really pay them at that stage because they're not employed. They'd be helping me put the things in place, and I create the employment opportunity and created the turnover to be able to pay them at that stage.
They're invested as well, aren't they?
Yeah, fully invested at that stage.
There you go. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's the second one. Third one would be systems.
Yeah.
Systems run everything. If you put systems in place and have the right systems, then again, it's taking your head and your heart out of it. So when it comes to having the right people on board, if you've got systems in place, you don't have to make emotional decisions about whether that person gets a pay rise or a bonus or is sacked. They will work the system to move in the direction that they deserve to go in. Then all you've got to do is have people to manage the system.
Yeah, that's it. Like with the army, they have policies. So they have policies on every action, on anything that can happen. There's a policy.
Yeah.
And the people in charge of certain departments, their job is to implement to the word the policies, and the policies mold the machine.
Yeah.
And that's what, and big companies, big blue chip companies do that as well.
We've got policies in ours as well, non-martial arts school.
Fantastic. And people talk about policies all the time. You hear people say you need systems, process, policies, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Right. How do you get them, and how do you regulate with your guys the implementation of them? Because it's about habits as well, isn't it? You can have all these policies. You go, here's my policies. Boom. We've got that with the franchise manual when we started, and then no one even open it or look at it. Like, do you know what I mean? So it needs to be a user-friendly way that can be implemented, and then you can kind of hold yourself accountable to the systems as well. So how do you do that, or would you advise on doing that?
Comes back to the culture.
Yeah.
Your culture and your policies should align. So if you've got, say if you've got a culture of personal development, when it comes to, say you've got a policy around, I don't know, lesson planning, for instance, and there's a section around lesson of the week, and then you've got an instructor that fills in everything, but doesn't fill that in, or to the standard that's required, then the policy dictates that that's our culture. To align with it, the way that you show that you align with that culture of personal development or whatever, then that needs to be done to a certain standard. So that's why HR or whoever deals with HR will come and sit you down and say, well, this isn't really up to scratch. Is there anything that we need to support you with to make it better?
Yeah.
Then we give them the training, and then if it still doesn't happen within 2 weeks, bring them in again. It's like, we notice it's still not happening. What can we do to help you to help us?
Yeah.
And then it's like first warning, second warning, third, etc., etc.
That's very corporate the way you do that, isn't it?
Yeah,
very much so. Yeah.
But it needs to be. It's in the past. I've not had that. Like in the beginning, I didn't have any of that, and because of that, it was just emotionally driven.
Yeah, because you're friendly with them. Come on, mate, I need you to that, and they're just not doing it. Then are they?
It's draining. And the worst thing is, like, you've had somebody with you for like 10 years, maybe. You get to know them, and then they do something that might be gross misconduct, but you can't do anything because you're emotionally attached. That's not efficient, because it's not even a case of just sacking them or getting rid of them. It's a case of what's the knock-on effect of keeping them?
Yeah.
And then what's your actual vision? Does it align with your vision? If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing in line with the culture and following the policies, then they're not. And who suffers?
Yeah.
It's that kid down the road that needs a confidence boost and needs an instructor that's going to show up for them each and every week because he hasn't got a male role model or whatever it is. So it's a bigger picture than just following policies. It's like, this is how I put it across to my team. It's like, we're actually in the business of changing people's lives. We're in the people-to-people business.
Yeah.
We just use martial arts as a vehicle.
Yeah.
So we've got a duty of care to make sure that these things are done. So as boring as policies might be compared to the martial arts,
yeah,
it's a necessity.
And do you outsource that rather than you do it, or do you implement
we
them?
We do it all in-house.
What I mean is, do you outsource to a manager for them to do? You have a person or HR or that person that will check on stuff or not?
No, my manager's trained to do all that.
So your managers is the so the manager will implement that then.
Yeah, because
that all gets done on your weekly stuff and
because we don't have HR incidents don't happen that often.
No,
you know what I mean. So and again, it's about investing in her for her to be the best version of herself as a manager. She needs to understand all of that stuff because you know what I mean. So we invested in that, and she knows us. She knows more than me now.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is scary.
Well, as martial arts instructor, there's certain things you do need to be good at, and it's not rocket science. You write your lesson plans, you deliver them.
Yeah.
Every class you do should be the best class you've ever done. Don't clock watch.
Yeah.
Make sure you're giving 110%. You should be presentable and act in a professional manner and lead from the front.
Yeah.
That's it. Meet and greet people as they come in. Don't be late and conduct yourself in a certain way. And that should, once you've been training people for a bit, you can reinforce that by just checking the lesson plans before they do anyway. We should get them to write them and explain it. So it can be, that same lesson plan could be conducted exactly the same by another person. That's how ours are meant to be written. And we have like a classroom assessment form as well, where they need to be rated between 1 and 5 in multiple different areas, from audiovisual, kinesthetic teaching, energy level of class, discipline, following lesson plans. And that will, if you keep doing random checks, because they have to pass our assessment centre first with these, doing multiple ones of these. But if you keep throwing them in there, keep resharpening the sword, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's important because, again, instructors, when left to their own devices, they will go off on a tangent. They'll go towards their preferences. So, it's getting them in line with that vision and keeping them accountable. Accountability is part of discipline, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're accountable to a bigger team, then it's what we're about as martial artists. You know what I mean? We talk about discipline, respect, and integrity, and all these things. We need to kind of live by it a little bit more and lead by example, because you don't know who's watching, that little kid or the parent or whatever it is. So it's got to conduct yourself in a certain manner, I think.
Brilliant, mate. Listen, Ricky, I think we've nearly run out of time now. It's been really good to have you on the podcast. Could talk to you for another hour.
I know, mate.
It's really good, really interesting information. Very knowledgeable guy, and you're doing very well, which is great to see, and you deserve it as well. And thank you very much for coming.
Cool. Thanks for having me on. Doing amazing things, and it was fun.
Cheers, mate.
Cool. Thanks.